I think what you have to say about the whole enterprise of doing paleontology in Florida is that when you get any site that's got integrity, you can't guess in advance what new data may be crucial. At first I would have said that the Wekiwa site that we've worked in August and September is basically an average, to good, productive late Pleistocene site. But we've begun already to be curious about whether this may in fact have some extra, hidden messages, something we may learn before it's all over, about the geographic ranges of some of the animals. I mean, we don't have very many sites going on down the peninsula and on over toward the east coast. Seminole, Lake County aren't known for any really rich sites. So there alone, just geographic range, it's important. Then you come to the question of age. We don't have the carbon dates back yet. We've begun to think, however, that this site may be really right in the maximum last glacial. The Wisconsin glaciers were several miles thick back up in the Great Lakes area. Florida wasn't really in the midst of an ice age in the sense of having ice imminently in Florida, but the climate may have been sort of at its peak of whatever that's going to be, and that's sort of the question. We may want to turn this on its head and say, what can the Wekiwa site tell us about environments and climates at full glacial? The reason we think it may be full glacial is primarily the rodents, the little jaws and teeth that we screened out from bulk samples there. We didn't even see them in the field, of course, but when we ran them through fine screens in the lab, the little bog lemming and then the little vole-like thing called microtus, those are animals that you tend to get up toward tundra environments, and they're quite far south in the peninsula, and that's suspicious to us. Suggests that we may be looking at full glacial times, a maximum sort of flush of more northerly things coming way down into central Florida. And we wonder about the environments. Were they somehow more tundra-like, or at least more arid? Were there more sand dunes, and maybe the little bits of peat and lake deposit that we see there may be kind of rare in the full glacial landscape. So these are just hints. We don't exactly know what's so different about the Wekiwa site, but one certainly shouldn't write it off as just routine. There are a number of reasons to think that with fuller analysis of the peats and what's in them, the plant material, fuller analysis of carbon, a more extensive screening of the small vertebrates, including the lizards, snakes, rodents, maybe bats if there are any. We need to keep after that, and the scientific enterprise is, of course, usually almost a search and an inquiry without knowing any of the answers at the outset. We have a pretty good species list. This already ranks as a key site in our knowledge of the late Pleistocene in Florida. It's among the top dozen or so for nailing down the basic distribution and occurrence of all the Ice Age animals. It's impressive to see the mammoth, the mastodon. We haven't seen any bison. Where is the bison? Maybe this is pre-bison. Why are horses rare? Certainly there's nice big sloth. There are a number of the edentates, which typically we think of as subtropical. The big glyptodonts, the giant armadillos, the glossothere sloth. in many ways, it's a typical Florida late Pleistocene site, but there's still some differences that we need to look into.